Can an American president tell Israel no? Will we have to go to war with our own country to do this? What is Joe Lonsdale going to think? If or when Trump tells Netanyahu no, what is Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Joe Lonsdale, Sean McGuire, Bill Ackman, Ronald Lauder, what are these people going to think? What are they going to do to our country? If Trump tells Israel no, are our pagers going to explode? Are our radios and pagers and iPhones going to explode? Is Starlink going to stop working? Is a dirty bomb going to go off in New York City? Is Trump going to get assassinated in his motorcade like JFK? What is going to happen if an American president tells Israel no? Because what it seems like is we're going to have to fight a war in America if that happens. What happened to the Ayatollah? He was at his residence when a Tomahawk missile came out of the sky and killed him. Is something like that going to happen? Does the U.S. president have to go underground like Iran's missiles? Does the U.S. president have to hunker down under the White House, under 100 feet of clay, to tell Israel no? Does he have to end all of his public appearances and get rid of all of his devices and background check all his Secret Service and go to the whatever that fortress is in Colorado in the Rocky Mountains? Is he going to have to do that in preparation to tell Israel, here's how it's going to work, you don't get to destroy Iran? What American president would choose going to war with Iran over telling Israel no? But then you think about what is involved in telling Israel no and who's going to be upset and what they're going to do. If they control our media, if they control our security apparatus, if they control our banking system, if they are the intermediaries, the middlemen with everything, global trade, they have a position in the court of every government in the world. What are they going to do to us? What plan B do they have in store for Americans? They had a plan B for Hezbollah. They put plastic explosives in all their pagers. Hezbollah was running around for 10 fucking years with radios and pagers, talking to each other, communicating on their hip every day. And there were plastic explosives planted by Israel the entire time. How the fuck do you think they did that? Where does Hezbollah even get their pagers? Some electronics wholesaler, some manufacturer. Israel's got shell companies inside of shell companies, factories, fake LLCs. It's all obfuscated. Shipping companies, they probably control the factory where it's made. They control the facility where it's distributed. They control the ships upon which they were delivered. That's the Mossad, and that is the Mossad's Jewish allies in Eastern Europe, in Asia. Who even knows the extent of this? And this is what they had in store for Hezbollah. You don't think they got a plan B for America? They had people in Iran following around the Ayatollah for 10 years. You don't think they got somebody on Trump? He's on TV. His name's Howard Lutnick. They had somebody following the Ayatollah, giving his whereabouts to Israeli intelligence the whole time for years. So did the CIA. You don't think Israel has somebody on the president at all times? You don't think they got a plan B for our financial markets, for our credit system, for the money supply, for the media? You don't think they've got stuff in New York, in LA, in Miami? They do. And that's why the American president doesn't want to take them on, because he knows he'd rather the explosives go off over there than go off over here. Because you think about, okay, you want to fight Israel. What do you need to do? Well, Israel has the U.S. at its beck and call for these reasons. They've got nuclear bombs. They've got an air force furnished by the United States. They've got the Mossad. Jews are everywhere, and the Mossad talks to all of them in Tehran, in Brussels, in Paris, in Washington, in Moscow, in Petersburg, everywhere. How the fuck are you going to fight back against that? I'll tell you how. You need a country of 100 million people. You need a Revolutionary Guard of religious zealots ready to die for their cause. You need them answerable to a supreme leader who's a cleric ready to die. You need 5,000 missiles buried underground. As a matter of fact, you need the facilities that make the missiles buried inside of mountains. You need enough uranium for 10 nuclear bombs. And then the United States will consider not trying to smoke you out with everything in our arsenal. You might survive. Are we prepared for that? That is what it cost Iran to tell Israel no. That is the price of their sovereignty. That's what sovereignty is. It's the ability to tell another country no. What is the price that Iran has to pay to tell Israel and Washington no? They had to turn their country into a fortress. They had to build a 1 million man army motivated by religion, and then they had to turn their entire country into a military base with drone and missile launch platforms everywhere and underground, and they had to sacrifice everything to build these capabilities. And they had to have 200,000 Revolutionary Guard with a bench 7 people deep because they knew all of them were going to get assassinated. That's what they're doing to protect themselves. Is the United States ready for that? You think Donald Trump is ready for that when he's at Mar-a-Lago golfing? You think that when Air Force One lands at Palm Beach, which is the headquarters of Jewry as well, and he goes to his club and he's playing golf, you think he is as prepared as the Ayatollah, as Hezbollah? He's not. Is our National Guard or our armed forces? No. Is the American public? No. What do you think happens when our country collapses the way that Iran's has? Do you think that we could get hit with 15,000 missiles and survive? It's going to be a race war. You turn the lights out for 3 hours, and it's going to be Planet of the Apes in every American city. Lots of luck, everybody. This is what we're up against.